You are welcome to this session, the second part of our series. Today, we are looking at the second part of the basic series of the technical series and the third part of the whole data science master series. As mentioned in the previous videos, this series is meant for everyone. Either you are a data analyst, a data architect, a business manager, as an arts person, a commercial person, a marketer, anybody that is interested, anyone that is interested in data science, anyone that is interested in data analysis or AI should be able to go through this course, this whole series, and you do have understanding. You do not need any teacher to make this happen. This is the best thing to happen that can happen to anyone. You are getting this for free. Like I mentioned in the earlier video also, we have a total of about 20 videos. So please take your time to go through these videos one after the other so that you have better understanding of the concept, what we are talking about. Now, today we are going to get cracking with the basic thing that needs to be, that we need to understand. That is talking about basic Python programming. Please, I don't want us to see programming as if we want to start developing software. No, it's not that tricky. We are only considering Python from the perspective of a data enthusiast. So on this session, we shall look at the definition of Python syntax. How is it defined? How do we use it? Then we are going to look at this from various angles. We're going to look at variables. What are variables? When do we use them? How do we use them? Then we'll look at the various data types. What are they? How do we apply them? At what point do we engage? Do we use them? What are the basic operations? The variables, how do we convert from one to another? What are the best practices in naming your variables? The last part of this video is something you will not find anywhere in the world. You will not find this in any video, and that is having 5 business examples for learners at all levels. That is everything that we have considered from definition down to best practices naming. We are going to apply everything using 5 different examples. So please take your time, subscribe to this video so that as soon as new ones are released, you'll be informed automatically. Let's get cracking. Now, for this series, I want to make it as practical as possible. So I'll be using my Jupyter Notebook. Now, on this desktop, I'll be creating, let me create a folder. I'm going to call this folder basic Python on my desktop. Now, everything will be done from inside this folder. I want you to understand, because I will be repeating what I've done in the previous video in how to get your Jupyter Notebook. Now, I'm inside the folder. There is nothing there. All I need to do is just click here. You can type CMD. It brings you this. Because I type CMD, it's on my desktop. This is my desktop here. This is a basic Python folder that created. Now, inside here, just type Jupyter Notebook. Please, if you have any problem or any challenge in getting this open, I refer you to the previous video, which is part 2 of this series. It is key. I've explained the steps end to end. Now, here we go. We have The Jupyter Notebook opened. It's blank. There is nothing inside it. The definition of all this, the meaning of all this have been explained in the previous video. Please take your time to watch it. However, it is not compulsory that you go back to watch those videos. As we get along, these are things I've been making use of from time to time. Now, looking at what we want to consider today, we want to start doing some minor program. Today we will cover some functional concepts that are essential for for anyone beginning their journey in data science, data analysis, or AI. Now, I'm going to open a new folder, a new notebook. This is where I'll be putting all my codes today. A new notebook where we'll be using, what we'll be using for the whole exercise today. Now, let us start with Python's syntax. What are they? What does that mean? Who are those making use of it? I can tell us today that the concept of AI in the world today cannot be mentioned anywhere without Python being mentioned. So if you want to be if you want to play a very high role, a very important role in the future, I would advise that you take your time to understand this concept, understand this language. It is very simple. It is straightforward. Now, I have my Jupyter Notebook opened. The first thing I want to do is I want to do some basic mathematics operations. 7 plus 3 should give me 10. So if I run this, you can run this way by using this, or with your cursor here, Shift key, Enter. It gives you 10. Now, we have 10. I want to do some division. Let's say I have 4 divided by 5. That's 0.8. So this is let me add a cell. Now I'm moving this cell to the top. Can you see that? That's the way to do it is this. Look at this arrow. I'm moving this guy to the top. Yes. So I'm going to call this title basic arithmetic operations. Now, if you look at this, the way it is, this is code. If I press enter to run it, it's likely to give me an error because this is not the way Python codes are. That is it. So I'd rather make this a comment. And for you to place a comment on Jupyter Notebook, come here and make use of this. Mark down. Now, Shift key and enter. You're done. Now I want to make this bold. I don't want to talk about Markdown on this call. I'm going to dedicate a particular time to to explain Markdown to us. But as we get along, you'll understand some basic operations. Now I want to make this a bit bold. Okay, so I have that. Now I want to do some funny operations. Say 81 divided by 9 plus 2. That's 11. 89 divided by 9 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. So that is a way of saying your Python works exactly the way your calculator works. Now, we need to go a bit further to an extent. That is, here, the operations that we do is something that we may want to continue to do. What happens if this 7 changes to 8? Do I have to write another one? if this changes to 3.1, I have to write another code. It will become messy and lengthy. That brings me to the idea of variables. Variables. Now, with variables, now again, I'm using my Markdown here so that I can put this comment. That brings me to the idea of variables. I want us to note that instead of performing these operations one by one, I can actually use something to represent all of them so that as those values are changing, that particular constant I'm using to represent them is not changing. So that representation is a variable. So I need us to think of a variable like a container that has all those numbers inside it. You assign value to them and you can use the values. Whatever values you keep in the container are the things you're going to make use of. So basically that helps us to have a kind of understanding about the way Python works. You may not need to tell Python what you are storing in the container, or just see a variable like a container. So I'm going to put a comment here. The reason why I'm putting comments is I'm using this to teach you also how to use Markdown. I want to put a comment here. I want to say that think of just what I've just said. Think of variables as containers for data. You assign values and you can use the values. You can use this. Let's use these variables later in your code. To perform operations or manipulate the data that they hold. Now, this is appearing green because I place this here. This is a comment. Whatever you place this on, and this is on code, the system will bypass it because the system is assuming that you are just putting a comment there. So if I run this now, the system will not complain. Right, but it's not well placed the way I want it. If you look at it, you can see. I have to be stretching this to see the whole thing happening. So what happens? Can't it just go down to the next line? Now, if I'm going to do that, I'd rather make this a markdown. If I make it a markdown and I press enter, it will be too big. Can you see? So I'll remove this one. Then I'm using a markdown. So if I press if I run it now, we are good. So that is just to give us an idea, just some small background understanding of what variables are. And I've just mentioned that, so it's just for us to keep that at the back of our minds. Now, the next thing I want us to do is, based on what we have just said now, I want us to look at variables from this way. As we have said, they are containers. They are containers for storing data values. We don't need to declare them, what is inside them. We can just add anything. So let's put this here. Let me make this a bullet point. Now to make this a bullet point, I'll use tab key and I'll put this. So if I run this now, or you can do this While this is on Markdown, that's it. Now I want to run another one. I want to go to the next line. Before I will be able to have bullet point on the next line, I have to use double space bar. I'm using Markdown at the top here. Enter. Enter. You can see now we have the bullet point ready. Now I want us to remind ourselves of this. Variable names must start with a letter or underscore. So main underscore, something of this nature. Yes, something of that nature. And cannot start with a number. Please let's note that. Cool. Now let's just do some basic examples. X is equal to 5. This implies that I'm going to put a comment here. This means that X is a variable keeping the value 5. Now, if I do another one, I'm not using Shift key now. I just want to press Enter to go to another line. If I do name, or let's run this. Let's go to the next one. If I do name equals Alice. Let's put a comment here. This means that there is a variable name keeping the value Alice. Good. So we need to just take note of that. Then we move to the next part to see how do we apply this. Now let's assume we have A equals 4 we have B equals 7. Now what that means is this leaves us with, if we have a C equals A plus B, if you have a C equals A plus B, that means we're expecting 11. Now, if I do this, the system will not complain. Now, if I now say, okay, give me the value of C, 11. In other words, if my A changes to something else and my B changes to something else, then I have my 11. I have my answer without any need to start changing the values, because A will have kept some values, B will have kept some values. So the same thing happens to other operations. Now let's assume we want to perform another operation, D equals A multiplied by B. I can decide to say, give me D. That's 28. So we can use this also, print. You have to quote it. The value of C is C. Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've not defined all this one, so let's just you let us bother ourselves with this one for now. But I just want us to have some understanding for now. So we'll come back to all those definitions. I don't want to bring in something out of place now. Okay, so this is basically the way it works. Now, if I have to divide D, say E equals G divided by 2, my answer should be 14. Print E as it. If I don't use the word print, see what happens. The system will not make it 4.0. E. Oh, okay, yeah, because this could be a decimal. That's true. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now I use the word print here. You have a choice. Either you use the print or you don't use the print. The beauty of using print is that when you use print, it allows you to bring in other things. For example, let me use this print again. Print, and I have inside bracket here is, let me even print this first. Can you see is this? Okay, cool. So now we now want to tell the system that the value is something that we have already. So I'm going to change this guy. Let me try something. Can you see that? So value is that. Please note, when you are using print, it has to be small letters, not the one I typed before. I typed cap prints before. So it's a different ballgame entirely. So it's not defined anywhere, at least in what we are within the context of what we are doing. Now, quickly we move to the next one, which is data types. Let me give this data types, or let me say Python. Let's make 3 Python data types. Okay, so now I have this guy. You can bold all these other ones. To bold them, let me show you. All you need to do is, you don't need to bold this really because it's already bold. It's bold already, so we don't need to bold. What we need to bold, I will let you know. I'll let you know. Now, I want us to talk about the basic or the common types. The common types of data that we have in Python. Common, please underline my word, common. Common types of data that we have in Python. We have the first one is integer. Integers. Integers. These are something of this nature, written this way, int, int. Please note they are what? They are whole numbers. They are whole numbers. And example, which we all know should be 2, 3, 7, whole numbers and the like. This will not run unless I make it a markdown. So I'm going to make it a markdown so that we have it. Cool. So this is one. Let's make this a, what do you call it? Let's put a bullet point there. Cool. So now the next one. Don't forget, integers are our counting numbers. They are normal numbers without zero. Now the next one is float. I need us to see floats are numbers with decimals. They are written this way, floats. These are numbers with a decimal point. E.g., maybe 1.4, 2.45, 5.12, whatever it is, but there are more, that should be some decimals. So let's make this also to be a bullet point. Don't forget, this will not run unless you make it a markdown. The next one is strings. Strings. This is written in this way. str. This is another way of displaying text. Enclosed in quotes. Either single in either single or double quotes. E.g., Alice, Rob, and the like. The next one is, I want us to see string as numbers, characters like normal, as if you're writing an essay. They are all strings. Words, they are all strings. Anything that is not numbers, they are all strings. Now, the next one is Booleans. They are written in this format, bool. They mean true or false numbers. True or false, boy or girl, male or female. And the like, yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't use a markdown here. Cool. Now let's give an example of each of them. Now we have let's call this examples. I'm going to bold this one. The bold is double star at the beginning and at the end. That means I'm using the same size of font, but I want to bold it. So I come to my markdown. Okay, so now let's have some examples for each of them. Or we can place the examples on each of them under them. Doesn't matter. Now let's say, now if I say age equals 30, what I'm saying is that I have a variable. This time around, the variable has a data type. The data type is integer, which is 30. So I'm going to put a comment here. This is an integer. Let's do another one, height. The height of someone could be point something. The height could be maybe 5.2. This is float. Account balance equals 1,500.34 in whatever currency. This is what? This is also float. Now name equals Alice. This is a string variable. Please note that age, height, account balance, name, they are all variables. But this time around, they are storing values of different data types. While age stores integer, height stores height. Balance stores float, height stores floats. Balance stores float. And name stores string. Is students equals true. Anything true or false is Boolean, so this is bool. That's it. So let's now perform some basic operations. Then we'll now look at their conversions, and that takes us to the next level. Now we need to understand the process, the arithmetical process, the operation process for in Python. So I'll take us through that. Let's do that as the next one. That is basic operations in Python. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now we need to understand the arithmetic ones, which we all know: the plus sign, the minus sign, the multiplication sign, and the division sign. We need to understand how to combine strings. We call it string concatenation and the rest. Then we need to understand the Boolean operations. So these are things I'll be taking us through. Next. Now let's go. Let me use Markdown here. Arithmetic operation. Arithmetic operations. So I want this to be bold, so I'll just use this guy. I use this guy here. Now, what are the arithmetic operations? Addition, which we all know to be the plus sign. Subtraction. Which you all know to be minus sign. Let's go to this. Even if you don't, it's not a problem, because it's Markdown. Multiplication sign. Which is this. division, which is this. Let's make this to be a bullet point. Now the next one, string concatenations, string concatenation. That means you are combining strings. So combine strings using the plus operator. Boolean operations. Olu is a boy. You are combining operations. Today is Monday. You are combining operations. These are string operations. You are concatenating them. You are concatenating Olu. You are doing that with space. You are doing that with is. You are doing that with space. You are doing that with a. You are doing that with space. You are doing that with boy. So, Boolean operations. Boolean operations. This is logical. We have one called logical operation. Logical operations like and. And when you talk of and, we are talking about and as in, it's always in small letters. Or. These are logical operations, which is always written small letter or. Not. Always written this way. Not. Now let us take a quick example here. For the first one, arithmetic operations. We can say sum results equals 10 plus 5. And we know that the sum is 15. This is an arithmetic operation. Difference. Let me just use diff equals 10 minus 5. This is difference. This is also arithmetic operation. And that gives 5. Now let's move down and do some concatenation on some string concatenation. I have string here. Okay, now greeting equals hello. Normally you want to say hello world. Let's see. Okay, let's put it this way. write hello Python using string concatenation. So that will be a greeting. That's the name of my variable. And that variable is the same thing as hello. Between this hello and Python, there is space. So I'm going to bring in a plus sign here, then bring in the space. That's the space between them. Bring in the plus sign there, then Python. If you do not put the space there, it will be very funny. So this gives us hello world. This gives us hello world. Okay. I want to believe that is understood. Now, the next thing we want to do is just to note some best practices and have some understanding on how to do some minor conversions. Although we're still going to look at this conversion at some point later. So I rather talked about the best practice in naming your variables. As earlier mentioned, you cannot start with a number. You can start with an underscore. You can start with a letter, but not obviously not a number and not a dot, not any other thing aside underscore. Now let's take some exercises on this so that we are able to have proper understanding of this whole concept. Let's put them into perspective. Now, this is one game-changing reasons why you need to be part of this series, why you cannot afford to miss any series, because this is the first video that I'll be seeing in the whole entire world where applications, enough applications or examples used in the business environment is using Python programming. Python has never been this simple. Now, so I will be looking at various examples now. We'll just take 5 of them and we are good for this part of the series. So let's crack on. Examples. Exercises in Python, in basic Python. Programming 1. Let's change this title at the top here. Basic Python Programming Part 1. The name? Okay. So now we're done with this guy. Now let's now start with the examples. So the first one that we're going to take, let me use Markdown also here. The first one will be, I want to calculating total revenue. Just want to make sure we have proper understanding. So let me make this bold. Okay, cool. Okay, let's put the narration under it. Okay, so now the question, the task. A retail company wants to calculate the total revenue generated from a list of products. From a list of products sales. Write the Python code. Let's put it this way: to assist a retail company to calculate the total revenue generated from a list of product sales. Cool. So this is it. Is the task. Let's bold this. Around this, yeah. So now let's go. Let's indent it. No, sorry. I want to make it okay. I'm trying to use Markdown. Yeah, cool. Okay, so now, how do we do this? Product sales. Let's do products. Product 1. Product 1. Product 2. And product 3. Okay, so this is it. And the following were given. We're given that product 1 price is let me put it this way. I'm trying to formulate a problem, right? So let's do this. Let's take this out. Okay, so let's have product 1. Let's add a note here. 100 units of product 1 sold for $25.99. Okay. 150 units of product 2 sold this is per unit sold for 45.50 per unit. 200 units of product 3 sold for 19.95 per unit. Okay. Yeah, this is the information. This is just all the information that we've got about this. So let's go. Let's crack it. We just need a code that will just give a value of the total revenue. And we all know that total revenue is we need to multiply the number of units times the price of one unit. And that gives us the amount sold, the revenue for that product. We'll now add all the products together. Now watch how I'm going to use Python to answer this question, to treat this case. Product 1, I'll say prices of products sold. I'll say product 1 price equal to 25.99. Can you see the way this was written and the way we have it in Python? You can choose anything to be your variable name. My variable name here is underscore with underscore. So 2 product 2 equals 45.50. Product 3 equals 19.95. So we are done with that part. Now the next thing we need to note is the quantity. So these are the unit prices. Now quantity of units sold. You have to make sure your stuff is clean and methodical, kind of. So for product 1, I'll just copy this guy and use it here. Product 1 underscore units. This is how many? That's 100. You have 100 here. Product 2, let me just copy this guy and paste here, change this to 2, and this is 150. Product 3, this is 200. Okay. Now I'm still inside the same cell. I've not run it. If you run it now, you will not have any issue. But it won't give you any response because you have not done any operation. So I go back there. And the next thing is to calculate the revenue for each product. So I'm putting a comment here. Calculate the revenue for each product. So how do we do that? That will be price times units, number of units, this times this. So I will now say revenue. Let me use the same concept. You can use anything, but I'm just trying to make it as nice as possible. Revenue product one revenue equals product one price multiplied by, you can give space if you like, product one units. So we'll do the same thing for 2. So let me just copy this. 2, 2, 2. Now let's do the same for the third one. 3, 3, 3. So we are done. So this line, this part helps us to calculate the revenue for each of the products. Now, we need to now sum all the revenues together so that we can help the company to say, this is the amount, total revenue. Equals the addition of all this. So that will be this, 2, and 3. And you can now print your result. Now, this is revenue. If you run this, it should not give any issue. As it run. If I pick this guy and drop it here to get the answer, that's it. 13,414. But I want the system to do a printout, so I'll rather put it inside here. Print. Give me this value this way. The total revenue is this guy. Just drop it there. It brought error because this was too close to 0. I didn't leave space, and I didn't put a comma. Okay, so we don't need this. So I hope that is clear now. So this is first example. Now let's look at it from another angle. The question is, with this, the company can determine the effectiveness of their sales strategy and make adjustments if needed. Because now we have something giving us calculations, calculating the stuff for us. Now I want to consider another example. This time around, it's not too far from what we just did, but they are very close. From what is the way I'm thinking about it, maybe let's do something on budgeting. Let's have another, how do I call this one now? What did I use? Okay, yeah. So this is 2. Markdown. What's this one here? Calculating total revenue. So this one will be budget allocation. Now let's make this also this way. So this should be 2. We've done 1. Cool. So oh, Let me even write here instead. Let me put a colon here and write here. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to write an application, write a Python code to allocate a budget across different departments, such as marketing, human resources. Let's use something short. Operations, finance. The following details were provided. The total budget, the total budget is 100,000. Allocation is 40%, 35%, and 25% respectively. Yes. So we want to help company to do this. In order to make this happen, we're going to write our code just as the other one was written. As follows. Now, total budget. Total budget. Total budget equal to 100,000. I've declared my variable. I've added the values to it, the value to it. Then the next thing provided us is the percentage allocations. So just note that. Marketing percentage equals 40%, that's 0.4. Remember this respectively means in this order. Operations, percentage equals 0.35. Finance now the next thing we need to do is to calculate budget for each department. So that will now be the percentage. This percentage multiplied by this figure gives you the value for each department. So I'm going to use marketing budget equals their percentage multiplied by the total budget. Can you see how important variables are now? So I'll be doing the same thing. I'll be doing the same thing for operations. Then for finance, so this should be total budget. Finance budget. Okay, so now the next thing is we need to print for each department so that they will know their location. So that will now be print. Now I'll be using something a bit different now, which is another way of bringing the answers together. I'll be using the F function. Bring this F here and close this. Now inside that, I want to do marketing budget. Instead of saying is, I'll say marketing budget. Let's say this is dollar. Let's assume this is USD. Okay, so I'll come here. I'll put my dollar here. For marketing, I'll go grab this and drop it here. I'm presenting this in a way a bit different from this. It's the same. We can do this also. I just want you to learn something else from here. So if I run this now, this should be here. So if I run this now, can you see that? The dollar sign is there now. Now the next thing I want to do is for the operations department. So if we run, let's do for the last one also. Finance. Okay, print. Now you can see we solved the problem. The next one, the next exercise. Let's assume an organization wants to increase the salary of employees. So let's see. Let me just copy this guy and change the format, the content, so that I'll save myself time. Okay, so now we have this. This is 3, the third one. This is employee salary increase. Write the pattern code. To give a 5% increase. Increase in salary to all employees. The following is happening. Okay, so the to 3 employees as follows. Okay, 3 employees. The following details were provided. Employee 1, employee 2, and employee 3. Currently, and 60,000, 75,000, and 90,000 respectively. So that's all that we have got. Right, so I'll make this mark down and let's go. This is equally simple and straightforward. In order to answer this, current salaries, let's have them. Employee 1, salary equals 60K. Employee 2, $75. Employee 3, 90. Cool. So done with that. Now the increase. So I'll call that increase percentage. .05 What else? So we need to now calculate the new salary after adding the increase. So instead of calculating the increase separately and add it, we can use a single operation to add the increase to it. So let's go. Employee 1 new salary. New salary equals the current salary plus, so times. Now I want to do one mathematics here. If I go to Paint, let me go to Paint. Okay, so now let's assume I have A is being paid 50, and I want to increase this by 5%. So I'll first do 5% of A, that's 5% times 50. And that is the same thing as 5/100 times 50. This leaves us with 2.5. Now, another way of writing this is this. We can say that the new value of 5, after adding 5% to this, because when you add 5% to this one, that means you're adding this plus it has 52.25. The new A, if you want to do it directly, the new A will be the former A, the old A, multiplied by, open a bracket, 1 plus the increase. Which is the same thing as 50 multiplied by 1 plus the increase here is this. That's 50, 5/50, 5/100 times 50. And this gives us 52.5. So I'll be applying that here. So I want to apply that here. So this will be, the increase here will be 1 plus that increase, which is, what do you call it? Which is this increase, the percentage increase. So okay. So this is just like what we just had now. This is a percentage increase, really. I think I made a mistake here. This, we don't need to bring this one here. All we need is just a percentage increase. That's all. That's the only thing that we need here. Because this will give us this will give us 50. Yeah, this will give us 50 plus 50 times 1.05. I multiply 1.05 by 50. That gives us this one here. So that's fine. So 1 plus the increase. If it is a deduction, this will be minus. Okay, so we are done with this guy. I copy this guy and bring it down to 2 for the second employee. For the third employee, same way. Because a company can have many employees, that is where data analysis comes into the matter. But that is a subject for another day. Okay, so now we have this. Now we can now print out the salaries of each person. So let me just copy this guy and use straight away so that I can save that time. So here we calculated, let me put a note here. Calculate the new salaries. Then here, print the new salaries. So employee 1 new salary just grab this one and drop it here. We're done with that. Employee 2 new salary. Employee 3 new salary. Oh, okay, this is, yeah, because we had a space there. Okay, so we should be fine now. Good. So we are done with that. Now the next thing we want to do is like a discount kind of. Like I mentioned, I promised us 5 examples, so I have 2 more to go, then we are out. So let me copy this format. The next one. I want to do discount calculation for promotions. Okay, write a code, a Python code to apply 20% discounts on to all to items item 1, item 2, and item 3. during a promotional event. The following details were provided. So let's have this for item 1. $120. The prices are $120. Let's put .00. $85.50. Let's have some weird stuff. 150.75 respectively. So we are provided with this. Mm, mm. Okay, so now we want to deal with this case. We have the item prices already. So what I'm going to do to make life a lot easier for all of us, I'm going to copy this and paste it. Just change the stuff to the current item prices. Item 1. Price. So just paste this guy here. Item 2. And item 3. This is 120. This is 85.50. And this is 150.75. Okay. The increase is 20%. That's 0.2. That's 20 divided by 100. Okay. So remember, we are discounting. We want to reduce the price, so this will be minus. That's the difference. Discount. I'll change this to discount. So we'll remove this guy. Put it here. This is minus. This is minus. This is minus. because we are reducing the amount. Then this is item 1, new price. New price. Okay. Okay. Print items, new salary. Item 1, new price. That will be this. So this one, display item 2, this one, display item 3. Yeah, we are done. Item 1, new price. What happened? Oh, item price. The old item price. Yeah, so we should be good now. Yeah, we are good now. Oh, I placed 1 in all of them. This will be 2. This will be 3. Good. Yeah, we are home and dry now. The last exercise for this session, which will be the 5th one, is that we want to, let me just copy this guy and use it. This is 5. So what we want to do is something a bit different. We want to calculate returns on investments calculation. Oh boy. I hope we are all getting it. So I'm going to change this guy. We want to calculate return on investment or marketing. Write a Python code to calculate the online marketing returns on investment. The following details were provided. Campaign and campaign cost and revenue generated were 20,000 and 80,000 respectively. Cool. So yeah, that's what we want to deal with here. So in this case, we first need to have the campaign cost. Campaign cost equals 20,000. Then revenue generated equals 80,000. Now let's just calculate the ROI, return on investment. Ooh, this is ROI. Oh, okay. Equals revenue generated minus campaign. That's this guy. Revenue generated minus campaign costs. Let me just put it here. Divide by campaign costs. That's it. So we print our result. Print. Again, our F function. Of the campaign. So we'll just go grab the ROI. This one. We want it to be in percentage, so times 100%. Then outside here, we want percentage around it. Yeah, that's it. 300% increase. So these whole examples that we have gone through now illustrate how variables and basic operations in Python can be used to solve everyday business problems, making data-driven decisions. I want to believe we've covered all that we have planned for today. For this video. Please join me on the next video as we shall be looking at the next steps. That is Basic Python Part 2. Thank you.